Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unscripted. I am Amy Kruzik, and I'm here with
David Ellis.
and our special guest, Liv Mokai Wheeler. Hi, Liv.
Hi, everybody. It's
Hi.
good to be here. It's so good to be here. I was getting kind of pumped over here from the intro.
I know. I do a little. I know.
I was kind of dancing. I was like, wow, this was exciting.
I know. Well, I would like to read about Liv, so everybody who's new to the channel, who's new to Liv, give you a little bio, little backdrop about Liv. So, Liv reconnects individuals and communities with the tangible experience of the spiritual world, a realm as intricate and profound as the physical one we navigate each day. She embodies the initiated feminine role of priestess and spiritual teacher, offering work that is genuine, yes, heartfelt, yes, courageous, yes, and uncompromising. Those who experience the sacred alongside her are guided to do so with the utmost respect, approaching the ancestors and spirits with the reverence and dignity they deserve. At the heart of Liv's path is a deep dedication to restoring what is truly human to humanity, rooted in heart, dignity, courage, and humility. She lives in service to the sacred, feeding the unseen so that it, in return, may continue to nourish life itself. Guided by the Candomblé, Liv has led international healing and spiritual remembering tours across the globe. In 2018, she published her first book, which I have right here, With the Love of the Ancients.
Excellent.
Yes, look at this. Look at
Oh,
this. It's a huge
that's
book.
sweet.
Uh, oh, that's gonna make me cry.
Oh,
Followed by the release of her feature-length documentary, The Remembering, filmed in Mongolia and released in 2019. That same year, she founded the Candomblé Medicine School, Earth's Amulet.
Mm.
From this foundation emerged a series of transformative programs: the Earth's Amulet Certificate Program in 2020, a heart-centered shamanic healing school in 2021 and 2022. Yes, I was there. And a priestess training in 2023, and the School for Mystics of the Aquarian Age launched in 2023 and 2024. Wow, Liv. Welcome.
Liv, you've been busy. You have been busy. Listen, when Amy told me we have Liv Mokai Wheeler coming on the show and she'd been in contact with you, yes, I would like to meet her. Right? Now, for those of you who don't know who Liv is, she offers a uniqueness to the spiritual perspective. I'm going to let her tell you about that. We'll be asking her some surgical questions because that's what we do.
That's what we do.
And this is this is unscripted. So, Liv,
Yeah,
anything goes. Anything goes.
anything goes. I have something fun at the end. I have something fun at the end if you're up for it.
I'm already having fun.
Yes.
I'm also sweating.
Oh, I know. I was a little nervous too. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But can you just the first I'll do the first question. So for listeners unfamiliar with the Candomblé, how would you describe who they are?
Well, to describe the Candomblé, I would first want to honor my longtime teacher who's on the other side now. So I honor Elder Maladoma Patrice Somé, who I believe is here right now. And he's an elder of the Dagra tribe of Burkina Faso in West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So once upon a time, I can say kind of the brief version of it in a kind of very magical way. I was guided to his book of Water and the Spirit. And when I started reading the book, I mean, for one, I was like, oh my God, that's my teacher. But also when I was reading about the Candomblé, when I was reading about them, my initial response was, I knew they were real. So the Candomblé, they're referred to as little people, and they're short in stature, ancient beings that live in this particular region of West Africa. You could say they live there, but also you could say they portal into there, they portal through there, so they live in nature, or they come into nature, they move through dimensions, and they come into nature, and they live sometimes in old trees, in caves, in mountains, in water. They're referred sometimes as nature spirits because they live in nature. I believe that's why. Um, but you could see them almost kind of walking out of a tree, looking like the tree. Um, and so it's similar to, you could say they're part of the same community of what are referred to as we folk around the earth, and all cultures and all peoples have names for these. If they remember them, sometimes you can find them when you dig around in books, or sometimes some people, it's their parents or their grandparents that have these stories. So the Cantumble the Cantumble and also the wee folk, elves, fae in particular, different what are referred to as little people, have been with me since I was a child, and I forgot. And then there was this, I was kind of in amnesia, and then there was this way somehow, Maladoma's book unlocked that remembering, or started to awaken that remembering for me. And then I was like, I knew they were real. So that's a little bit about them, but again, they're what I've come to discover and also remember. It's all I believe all peoples around the earth have stories, and I believe they're also our ancestors. That these star beings, they're also, they're from the stars. They're multidimensional as we are, and so I believe a lot of them are braided into our DNA, and so it can be very emotional connecting with them.
Mhm.
I want to, because I'm a bit of a theology buff here, and
Okay.
I study, I do. So what she's describing there would be, for those of us who read in Enid Blyton, pixies, fairies. If you are in Africa, yeah, they're called the little people in Africa.
Mm,
They're a subgrouping of the Orisha. Even the Yorubans have this in their culture. In the
mm.
Caribbean, we had Tija,
Oh.
and Tija, for those of you guys who are in the Caribbean, Tija and so on, in Norse traditions, they were the earth spirits from that were sent down to Midgard being earth. And for, yeah, I could go around the world with that. The Chinese have a version of that as well. I forgot presently what the version is, but there is a version of that in Chinese and Oriental culture. And the Filipinos believe, obviously, little people inhabit their gardens, right?
Mm.
But for those of us who are just regular people with gardens, what do you think a garden gnome is representing for? Anyway, so I took that back. Just a little bit
No,
of
no,
structure here.
pardon. No, it's fascinating to be with you both, because I get kind of spiritually activated by both of you, and it's fascinating the way that you stream, David, because you're so precise in your understanding, and also so kind of the word loaded comes also spiritually loaded. That's what they said about loaded, meaning, you're powerful. You're clearly very powerful spiritually also, and so I find it very deeply satisfying to
Yeah.
listen to you.
You don't get conversation. We got. This is why I'm so happy to have you with Amy. Like Amy and I depend on each other for a lot of conversations. So
Yes.
it's nice to broaden the group a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's yeah, and in the particular ones that you spoke about, I don't think I had heard those names before. I mean, I've heard the Philippines, the duendes, and something I find interesting, if I say it correctly, I hope I do, but friends of mine from the Philippines, they'll say, I've heard that the way that they respect the duendes when walking through nature
Mhm.
is, I believe it's tabi tabi po, is, essentially to say, excuse me if I'm stepping on your home. Um, so it's really interesting the way in my, again, some of them were from direct travels and sitting with people in these different places, and some of them were from having friends from different cultures and talking about these things. But it's interesting that awareness that still is alive in a lot of people, and sometimes it's really um, um, uh, merged also with fear.
Correct. In the Caribbean, we have the little people in the form of what we call bolom. Okay?
Uh-huh.
From so that would be from most of the French islands and so on. And in South America, every country in South America has a version of this. Every one of them.
Mm.
The Peruvians have a version of it, and they use Mother Aya to contact these spirits.
Mhm.
Because people think that when you use ayahuasca, it's just one intelligence you're contacting, and that's not necessarily the case.
Mm.
All right, but I'm gonna turn that back over to Amy. I just did a little bit of a nerd detraction there. I just did a
I
bit of
love
a
it.
nerd
I do
distraction.
I
too.
love
I love that too.
I love the nerd alert. Nerd alert. Um,
Yeah.
I tease them a lot. Um, yeah, so, well, I don't even know where to begin, but I kinda wanna go to kind of the beginning, like, as part of your, history of the initiation process with
Mm.
Malidoma,
Mhm.
and not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, as much as you wanna talk about that, and
Mhm.
just let people know what you've been through to get where you are today. Not everything, I know that. Read the
Yeah.
book, because it's a beautiful book, and I even have things underlined, I might say today.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Um, well, is there, I'm curious. I'm curious if there's a particular vision or memory that comes from the book about the initiations, and then I'll kind of dive into that portal.
Okay, so what I remember from the book, I don't this just comes to me, I have no idea if this is about the initiation, but I remember you going into the cave and meeting them for the first time, you
Yeah.
bringing a bottle because they love the spirits, right?
Yeah.
And they took it right out of your hands, and you were just
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting chills, so that
Yeah.
means they're here.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, and that was interesting too, because that's also touching on how people relate to them. And so sometimes when people are thinking of them from kind of cartoons or fairy tales or something, there's so many different ways. It's interesting that people relate to them. But I had heard Malidoma through the years talk about the Kuntumle caves, and even though there were different ways that I was already working with them as a stick diviner and different kinds of initiations I had been through and going to Burkina, and I I was so I really really wanted to meet them in person, in the flesh.
Mhm.
So I was asking Maladama when I knew I was going to go for one of the trips to Burkina, and I asked, can you take us to can you take us to the caves? And he was like, why do you want to go to the caves? I said, I want to meet them in person, or, I want to meet them physically. And he said, why do you want to do that? And at the time I was like, because it would be cool. And he said, that's the wrong reason to go. That's the wrong reason to do it. I was young. I
I
was
get
young in my journey, and I was like, this would be really exciting. And he was like, that's the wrong reason to do it. And I was like,
oh,
we did end up, it was a short trip that time, and it was so interesting because each time I went to Burkina, I noticed, especially in hindsight, that it felt like there were themes, spiritual lessons that happened each time. For some reason, in that particular trip, um, I was able to see not only the Candomblé, experience them physically, but also I was physically seeing different beings that then went into basically the other world. And sometimes, we really think we want to experience something, but then when we actually experience it, it can be really daunting and scary. And so we went to this cave, and with this particular cave, um, there are gatekeepers. There are gatekeepers for particular places that only those gatekeepers would be able to open up that, actual physical matter. There were, these particular places on earth, not saying I'm opening a portal, spiritually saying physical matter is moving. And so we went to the Cantumble Caves with one of the gatekeepers, and I would have this experience every time when I felt their energy really powerfully, that it would feel very emotional for me, because I believe, in a sense, I come from that place. And so when he started, at first he took us around the cave. I think he was so used to Western mind being so kind of concrete and needing proof, physical, to see if something is real. And so he took the flashlight, and he had us walking through this deep cave and showing us that it was it was rock wall. And so we all went through the cave, and then we came back. And when he started this invocation, he had a whistle, and he had these different things. And when he started the invocation, the energy was so strong, and I felt them so powerfully. And so I was simultaneously grieving, and also I was like, my knees were giving out. The energy was so strong, so it's just like kind of crippling. And when he saw me, I didn't know what was happening. I just feel it so powerfully. And he stopped, and he was like, "Is she okay?" And they said, "Oh, she just gets really emotional around the contemplate." And so he started again, and then yeah, actually at a certain point you could hear, rock crack, crack, like a huge, like worlds, tearing apart, or not tearing apart. It was huge sound. And then next thing, I could hear their talking, and it was really sharp, high pitched, the way I'd hear them. And then they were talking. And at that point, I wasn't initiated in that way yet. I didn't realize I was going through my initiation right there. But I was hearing them and feeling their energy, and we all had offerings for them. And there are many things they love, but also they love spirits. They love honey, and also they love spirits. So I had a bottle of spirits for them. And we all, before that, really wanted this so badly, until the moment arrived, and it required a certain amount of energy for that to happen. And so he was saying, everybody was frozen. We were all we were in shock, basically. And he was like, "Go, go." And and everybody everybody was frozen in shock at what was happening. And so by the time I got up the courage to go into the cave, I was afraid, and I could hear them so blah, blah, blah. And I was like walking closer. They were short, and you can't see my hands, but maybe a couple feet tall or something. And the one that was there, they a lot of times have long hair. And so it was saying this thing, and I was like, as I was putting this bottle over there, and the hands come on. They have small hands, but it felt so like this suction or something. It was like whoo, into their world. Like, yeah, physical, everything was physical. And after that, I was basically in shock. And we were all in shock for a while. It was so shocking to meet the other world so powerfully, and it was shattering this program, probably a program. It was shattering a program. And And so once I was, kind of like thawing out from shock, I talked to Maladoma a little bit about it, and then that I didn't realize, but that whole experience had ignited an initiation. And so technically, I was living in San Francisco at the time, and when I came back, I didn't realize, technically I had malaria, and I was kind of basically in denial of that I was really sick. And so it'd come in waves of these fevers and these kind of like intense, and I just was in denial. I didn't want to go to the hospital. I didn't want to go through this whole process, and so I was kind of putting it off. And by the time I went to, a friend was just telling me, Liv, you've got to go, you've got to go to the hospital. You've got to do something about this. And so by the time I went to the hospital, I could feel that I was dying, basically. I was, I don't know how I knew. I just knew I was dying. And my friend Shayna, she was with me, and it was all these, malaria symptoms and everything. And like my vision was going, and I was vomiting a lot. And I just knew somehow that I was right there with death. And then, and it was true, they did the tests, and they basically said I had 1 day to live. And so they weren't seeing malaria a lot, and they miraculously got some treatment there in time for me to be treated. But when I was in the kind of depths of it, they were, while I was vomiting also, but I could hear them, and I could feel the candomblé so close. And I was saying to them, I was like, what is happening right now? And they were saying, initiation. And I was, at that point, I had been through really grueling initiations already. And I was like, fuck initiation. I was angry about it. I was like, fuck initiation. And they were like, and I could feel them so close. And basically after that, it took a while to heal from that process. It took a while. And I was deeply transformed through that whole process. I was humbled, and I was, had an appreciation for life like never before. So I had this deep this deep intimacy with death, and I had this now deep intimacy with life. And then from that point, that's what activated the voice. I didn't know that I would be a contumely voice diviner, but that's what activated it. And so they started, this process of coming through and working my vocal cords, and this process that took probably about 6 months until it started streaming in a fluid way. And just like David, just like you, David, they're just like you are so precise. They're also, they require precision. So anytime anything I would translate, say, it sounds like you're saying this, and if I got it wrong, they're like, no, you are saying. And so I'm like, okay, let me try again, And so that's what the training was like, and that's what I experienced also with Maladama. He was hands off in a sense that he would, when I would tell him something, he would listen, and clearly he was understanding a lot, but he wouldn't say, okay, you do this, and then you do this, you do this. He would just listen and go, uh-huh, okay, give that some, and then I was left to kind of feel my way through it. I knew he was there if I could call him, and he was supporting me. But that also helped me to, in the ones that I was reaching out to really is spirit, and asking them, can you help, and kind of like feeling my way through it.
Wow. That is amazing. Amazing. I think I was just kind of like mesmerized by the story right now.
Oh, thank you.
Me too.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
that?
Me too.
I know. I could
Maybe you have other questions because I got questions.
Oh, yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead with your questions, David.
Liv, what you do is very, very unique
Mm,
because I've met channelers and I've met diviners.
mm,
I've met priestesses and I've met psychics.
mhm,
I haven't met somebody that wraps all of these or crosses over these boundaries
Mm,
together. People either define themselves in one category or another category, but you don't have a definition for what you do you? It's kind of like
it's fluid.
Yeah. Yeah.
that by itself is impressive, and that is a lot of information to handle.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, that's an interesting way to say it. That's a lot of information to handle. So it feels very fluid for me the way I experience the spiritual dimensions, and they're all different. I guess you could say kind of dimensions of my being that in this kind of where it goes into, let's say, communion with the cosmic mother and kind of like connecting with goddess energies and this kind of thing. There's different
Hmm?
tones, maybe like waveforms that come through depending on which beings that I connect with, and they have different effects. So when I'm connecting with the contemplative, I experience it more like a spark. They spark, ignite, and then when I'm connecting with the cosmic mother, I experience it as these long waveforms, that come from the source. I'll experience these long, um, that's how she'll show it to me while she's saying it, and it gets very hypnotic, and it's these, and I'll see kind of colors and things when she's showing me that. Um, but it's the way it's naturally happened, and here I'm in Bali right now, and the first time I'll get guided to these different priests or healers or shamans or people around the earth, and they'll, the one first that I sat with. And that's also, I imagine you experience this too. This is how we can know if somebody is a seer or not. Can they see us? I mean, that's a,
Mhm.
do you know what I mean? Or
I know exactly what you mean. Yes.
yeah, it's like to the depth that you can perceive. There's something that I noticed when I would sit with different souls is that I imagine that's initiations, that it's almost like layers of sight that you can sense. Oh, because it's like you can feel yourself being seen in a way that most people don't. It's like an aspect of your being that most people don't touch. And this particular priest, I could feel him like that. And so there's something that feels very, it feels nice. I feel we all can sit together like this, the three of us, which feels comforting also. It feels very comforting. But he looked at he looked at my palm, and yeah, he was basically saying that, you're a priestess of whatever, essentially the divine. And then he asked me questions about my childhood, and there's different ways that it expresses. And but yeah, I appreciate that. All that to say, I appreciate that. And it's interesting also is that a priestess that I was with the other day, a Balinese woman, she there was this knowing. I had picked up at some point Mongolian ancestors, not like I picked up Mongolian ancestors along the way. I do have Mongolian ancestors, and I had that understanding because I connected with them spiritually. And then I told my mom that, and she was, looking into where she felt like that came from. She was looking at her tree. And then when I sat with this woman the other day, this Balinese woman, she asked me, "Are you part Asian?" And I said, "It's funny you say that because I feel like I am." And she said, "You are. I see your ancestors right there. They're Mongolian." And I said, I knew that. I felt that. And so it's so interesting the way it all can be so fluid in the ways that they move in and out. And I feel like it'll bring out different aspects of our being.
For sure.
Mhm.
Wow. So I just want to share that, I've been in ceremony with you and Contemplate, and also in person,
Mm.
ah, which was amazing. But the way the Contemplate speak, David, is very short words, simple, so simple. They talk in such simplistic ways. And I'll never forget the question, and I wrote about this. I think I made a revocation or something. In one of the ceremonies, they said, How can you honor death more so? I still remember this. This was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That's how that's their questions when you're in ceremony. They ask these questions for you to really dive deep
Mm-hmm.
within yourself. Like, it's just very simple. It's just very simple. And that's kind of why I love about them.
Yeah, the
And
Japanese call those koans
oh,
because
koans.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because the reason for that, I have a deep aspect because I've thought about this a lot. Has to do with the fact that when you answer people when they give you a question, oh, what is my purpose in life? And you tell them, well, your purpose is to be a bank teller.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, that's a problem. And I'll tell you why that's a problem. Because based on the input that or the transmission that they get from you, they have a choice to accept that energy, but the energy may expand past that and they may think that this is the road that they're in. When you give someone a koan and the person delves on it, the mind unravels to its true potential, what is really in there. And there's a way of answering people which is esoteric, and there's a way of answering people which is exoteric. So, exoteric people, they want the answer. I want to know. Am I going to be working at the Bank of Montreal, the Bank of Nova Scotia, or Chase Manhattan? Right? This is an exoteric interpretation. But the truth of the matter is, and this is not just linked to just Japanese koans. This is linked to a number of other things, right? I'll give you an example of what I mean. Our old languages, the languages that we no longer speak, the languages which are called dead languages, they operated in concepts. The original languages operated in concepts. Sumerian or let's say Sumerian, let's say even Latin operated in concepts. When you said, I would like you to pass the cup, the grail, right?
The
So when
grail.
people say, oh, this is the order of the grail, and you have guys in armor and they're looking for some cup, right? No, no, that's an exoteric interpretation. The grail is a vessel of containment of knowledge. The holy grail that you seek is that open space knowledge that is within all of us. But you know, when you're teaching students of metaphysics, they're looking for a cup.
Yeah, the literal cup.
The literal, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a difference between exoteric and esoteric, and only when you go inside yourself can you see a simple question is not so simple. It is meant to expand you.
Yeah.
So, oh, can I just read this excerpt from your book because it brings this all together about what we just talked about,
Absolutely.
Contemplate and how
I'm
they
just
share.
sparked by you both. I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So in this, you say they're very creative in how they teach people during divination sessions. The Contemplate have ignited my desire to experiment with language and to find new ways to express. It's like they want us to understand the confines of speaking in English and at the same time play
Yes.
with the boundaries of words.
Yes.
They also often speak in rhyme. Yeah, they do.
Mhm.
And they laugh a lot. They like to laugh. And
You-
I imagine there are clever reasons for doing that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So go
yeah.
ahead. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was getting let's see what you were saying, David, about the language, and what you were saying, Amy, about the simplicity. So it's simple, yeah, the question, and I learned that the slow way, David, also what you're saying, the slow way about when you just be the conduit and say the thing. People are saying, I want to know the purpose, and then their guides, stream it through, and then yeah, it doesn't go smooth more often than not for so many reasons. And yeah, that's what I learned. The slow way is that the person really needs to be a part of the process. Their
Yes.
soul, they need to be engaged with it. And so the contemplate in all of these ways that they share, they're really wanting. And this is the way I experience it with probably all of the beings, but especially with the contemplate. Um, they they want us to engage the process. It's that's where the transformation happens. And also with the question, and it would require one to go inside of themselves, and with the multidimensional stream, everybody's going to receive that stream uniquely.
Yep.
And they can hear it differently, each one themselves. And somebody will say, oh, I heard it that way. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because what I felt from that they'll enunciate certain words, or they'll continue to kind of like highlight certain words. But yeah, they want us to kind of start unraveling it.
Yeah. It's
I'll
beautiful.
I'll give you an example. So I had a very uh, enigmatic teacher when I
Mm,
was younger. And I think, Amy, I told you about this. He said to me that the best of life and the best of everything is to be found in the slow and small spaces.
mm,
Okay? This was said to me over 20 something years ago. I'm
mm,
still unraveling the uniqueness of this, the slow and small spaces. And I realized
mm,
by experience that when things got hectic and I felt overwhelmed and I stopped and I stayed silent, I could see the solutions
mm,
easily.
mm.
The mountain was actually a molehill, but that is the slow and small spaces. You got to slow it down.
Yeah.
And it was the practice that allowed me. But then if that man had told me, oh, David, when things get overwhelming, you really should just slow things down and stay quiet. I, it's different.
Mhm.
It's different. It's not integrated onto your skin when you don't
Mm.
discover it for yourself.
When
That's
you
what I.
don't when you don't discover it for yourself. And that particular kind of teaching I've been really feeling is when I'm recently feeling kind of get jammed up in energy recently. I'm like, what is needed? And it's like slow, tiny. It feels almost like Saturn or something, that it's slow, steady. And I feel like in honor of this conversation today, yesterday, I was getting guided to just go into simple meditation a lot and go into the subtle sensations and everything. And I was like, this is either Saturn influencing me, or they're preparing me to sit with David, or maybe both. Slow, and then noticing where the universe is there.
Yes, awareness that your answers are actually in front of you, and
Mhm.
Mm,
everything and all the chaos and all the what I call the noise in the stream,
yeah.
that's the illusion. But a lot of people never actually get there because they see the noise and the solutions are inside the noise. But when
Mhm,
you slow down and you realize that all of the stuff that you're experiencing in life, all of the hassles, the financial stresses, the kids that are crawling over your head at this particular point in time while you're listening to this broadcast, um, all of these things are the illusions. And so when you slow down and you see that that is just illusion, you see all the solutions, you see them.
mm,
So that's just my
mm.
spiel. Amy, over to you again.
Yeah.
You have the
Yeah.
questions.
Can I say one thing before?
Yeah.
Sorry, Amy. And David, there's something I hope it's okay that I say this, but when we were connecting the last time, when I was connecting with you both, when I was on the scooter, just out and about, after I was feeling, it was these like numbers and waves or something like that. It was like feeling, and it felt like connecting with your vibration. It was these really feeling waves, but all these like numerics in the waves. And when you communicate, it feels like the structure of the cosmos communicating. Like it's not simply the cosmos, but the cosmos in structure. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I have spent a lot of time just trying to understand the things that are in the small and slow spaces.
Mm.
I think a lot of people, when they think about esoterics, I used to be the kind of nerd that would chase every esoteric kind of knowledge. I used to be the kind of bookworm that used to do that, right? And then I realized that my little puny conscious mind did not
Mm.
have the capacity to read enough books to bring me to the level that I needed to bring. So sometimes you have to, and I'm going to say this on a live broadcast, this is unscripted, shut the bleep up
Yeah.
and let the universe teach you.
Yeah.
Just
Mm.
open and let the stream happen. It's the difference
Mm.
between a dial up connection and ADSL. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually that's what I felt when I connected with you both with you with your energy last time, David, is it was the way it was coming through to me as I was laughing and telling my friend, I said it's like I felt like I needed to defrag my computer, and I don't even know what that means, but it was just kind of in the trans, connecting with your auric field, just the way that we're all talking together, and it felt like, oh, okay, yeah, that's meditation, and it just kind of smooths everything out. It feels like.
Yeah.
Mm, that's beautiful.
Yes.
And I give you full permission to enter my energy whenever you needed to. At the beginning of the last one, at the beginning of our last meeting, and today you have my consent.
Thank
We have
Give me
you.
nothing
my
to
consent.
hide. Amy and I have nothing to
No,
hide.
I have nothing to
Please, stand away, stand away.
we were just talking about that earlier too.
That's so neat.
Yeah. So I wanted to know,
Mhm.
um, how do you so let me just see how I can write. I have it written down, but I'm just gonna say. So you walk between the indigenous and the global audience, and how do you maintain that integrity within your role that you have?
Um, I mean, I don't know if I would say that I walk. I don't know if I would say that I in a see, that's the thing. Even though I honor and respect Maladoma and the Dagara people so much, I don't say that I'm practicing Dagara rituals or practicing. Um, and even though my path has naturally brought me to sit with people who are referred to as who are I say referred to as indigenous because this is in my own mind. I experience definition differently, I'll
Yeah.
say. I experience energy differently. And so, yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm identified or working with a particular like indigenous stream. And even when I've traveled to different, I could say, ancestral lands, my soul is guided in different ways. So it moves in different ways. So the answer to that question is I don't actually know. I'm just, just kind of moving between all the realms as I'm getting guided to. And I don't know if I'm doing it particularly well.
You're
I'm
just
doing
being
it.
you're just being live then. You're just being
Yeah, I'm
you
trying to. Yeah, I like, I believe in respecting all beings. I believe all beings deserve respect, all. And I'm doing my best to move through all the realms gracefully, but it's my way of saying I don't think it's straightforward. It's not straightforward. I don't find it to be
yeah.
straightforward, and I find it to be complex, especially right now, very complex. Um, and so maybe the ways that I'm being guided right now, or what comes to me right now, is water is my teacher. I'll say that.
Okay.
Water is my teacher, and when I say she's my teacher, I've been more directly her student probably for the past 5 years. More directly, where I'm going to water and saying I'm honoring and giving reverence to her and saying I'm your student. I'm devoted to you. So um, I don't actually know. Yeah, I don't think it's Yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah.
It's a
So
little
it's
bit of
not,
a
I
fancy
can
answer.
I can summarize that. Live
yeah.
is
Yeah.
living. Live is living.
Live is living. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
is no fine line. There is no,
And I really like that. I really like that.
yeah.
I really like the fact that you are not a specialist,
Yeah.
because whenever somebody pigeonholes themselves into, oh, I'm a witch. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a priestess.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a psychic. Oh, I do this and I do that. It actually, in the realm of everything that is metaphysical, there are so many facets of it. If you
There's so
pigeonhole yourself into one of them, you
yeah.
have immediately limited yourself by your own words.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so it's the ways, yeah, that the definition can be limiting. It can hold us in a definition, and the way that I have experienced it is much more fluid, and I've spoken through the years also. I've been surprised to learn that, yeah, in the kind of identity or the identification of one, that I was so surprised to hear that people think that spiritual people are not artistic or like electronic music or have these different passions and um, eat in all different kinds of ways and love in all different kinds of ways. And so I guess I don't know, maybe if it was a particular, maybe sometimes when people speak about tantra in the spiritual perspective of, I'm not speaking sexually, I'm speaking in the all encompassing. In some ways, I like the kind of all encompassing, that it's kind of embracing of life, and yeah, to kind of make friends with, to be in the immersed experience of it. But also, as I said, when I'm experiencing you both, it's not, David, when I say that before, it's not trying to kind of like tap into your energy. It's how I experience a soul when I'm sitting with them, not going into reading them, but it's the way I experience their energy transmit, and I'll see visions from the way their energy is transmitting. And like with you, Amy, I always tell you, I always feel like, angels and cupids and just like really sweet energy around you that feels so loving and gentle and generous and all these different things. But it's kind of like getting impressions. And so, and I love that too. I love to experience the uniqueness of each soul. And because one just feels like it can be very flat, and we are dimensional.
Yes, I say it out loud, sister. We don't usually use sound effects in this studio. I feel like
I know.
I want to. I'm going to have to drop a few spots
Yeah.
to that, and I'll tell you why. Listen, I would like. I'm going to repeat what she said. We
Yeah.
are multi-dimensional beings. We are not unidimensional beings. You are not Jason, the accountant at
Yeah.
PricewaterhouseCoopers, right? Amy is not the unscripted lady,
Yeah.
right? Liv is not the, oh, that psychic lady. No, right? We are a mixture of things, and all possibilities are open to us. And I
Mhm.
feel like people need to hear that,
Yeah.
because whereas it's very easy to pigeonhole yourself into a little comfort curve.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
only yourself you're robbing, okay? The
Yeah.
incarnation that you are experiencing right now, it can be so much more if you
Yeah.
open up to the possibilities that are there. And a lot of people don't do that. And, one of the reasons why I'm really happy to have you here is the fact that you have, from what I can gather,
Mm.
made a whole life around not pigeonholing yourself,
That's true.
because you were not always Liv Wheeler. You were someone else before Liv Wheeler,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And that person could have been easily pigeonholed into, you know, taking the kids to soccer practice. And the kids to soccer practice. And you could easily have been pigeonholed. Look at, right? Like people have done that, and there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. But there are a whole bunch of people who come to ceremonies, like I'm having one on Monday, with
Mhm.
this look in their eye. And when you ask them, why is there distress? It's like, I feel
Mm,
like I am a wife and a mother, and that's all there is.
yeah.
And it's like, words have meaning. When you ascribe a title to yourself,
Mhm.
you spellcraft yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If I was to come here and say, hi, I'm David the accountant, that's who I am.
You know what, David? Is that has to do with like in live, that has to do with like the identity that the identities that we put on ourselves. So
Yeah.
many times people have asked over the years, "What do you do? What do you do?" And I'm like, "What?" I never knew what to say. Like, where do you want me to start? Now?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what I've done in the past? Do you want to know it? It was always a confusing question, even though that's why I could never like speak it because it was like,
Yeah.
why, even for job interviews, it's like, well, I can really pretty much learn anything that you want me to learn.
They need you to be in a box. It's kind of like when
Yeah,
somebody asks me, "Gee, David, how's life going?" And I'm like, "It continues.
it continues.
It continues."
I like that.
Oh, you're so funny.
I like that.
Yeah,
Right.
I love it. And yeah, and it's something I feel too. I don't know if everybody has this feeling, but the way I experience the soul is the soul really wants to express. The soul
Mhm.
loves to express. At least that's the way I experience my soul. And it's all these different ways, whether that's musically or singing or dancing or moving or the aliveness, and when we allow what's notice what's naturally trying to happen, and rather than, oh, I'm this person and I don't do that, it's allowing it. It's interesting, since I've been in Bali this recent time, there's this fabric that I got when I was with a Balinese friend, and we were at a traditional market, and I thought it was a really beautiful fabric. And it's usually used. I don't know if I was aware of that. It's usually used in ceremony. That they'll wear it in
Mhm.
ceremony. And I saw it, and I was like, oh, I think it would be really nice. And I just had this idea, this vision of how I thought that would be really nice. That fabric worn in a certain way, and with, I really like kind of overall suspender things. And I went to a tailor and I asked her if she could create that. And it's so interesting because anytime when I'm going around Bali, um, I don't know if Balinese people ever compliment me on an outfit except when I wear that. And it's so interesting, not so many times when I wear that outfit, they'll look, and it's like almost they cock their head to the side a little bit, and they're like, "That's a ball," and I said, "Yeah," and they said, I love that." And it's a similar response each time when they say, it's like, "Oh, it can be done." It's almost like, "Oh, we can do it like that." And I was like, I thought it was nice like that."
Because you're actually adding to the culture. You
Mm,
haven't pirated the culture, you're adding to the culture.
mhm.
And they can appreciate that
That's nice.
because it expands them. The expansion
Nice.
is what they're really looking at. This
Mhm.
person has come and expanded our understanding of that particular cloth. And
Aw.
when people are afraid to be themselves and be original, they
Mhm.
miss out on what you just said, that opportunity
Mhm.
to define new spaces. And look, Liv, when I say, and this is a compliment, this is not a
Mhm.
compliment, I really appreciate the fact that you chose not to define yourself and pigeonhole yourself, because
Mhm.
it makes others understand that there is expansion.
Mm.
Expansion is within your grasp. if you choose it, and if you don't choose it, then you will be what your words have been.
Mm. I
Yeah.
feel like a little mic just dropped.
Yes.
I love that. And thank you so much, David, for what you're sharing also. And it's interesting that you say that. I appreciate that. I hadn't looked at it like that. And it was recent when I worked with that tailor or designer, we could call her. We've become friends. And I brought another thing because the Contemple, they love artistry, and they love creation. When I look into their world, they're all creating. And so they asked me to have this outfit made, this particular white outfit from a particular cloth, and to take it to design an outfit, go to the eldest tree on the island and make an offering, and so I worked with this designer or tailor, we could say, and told her again like what I was looking for, and we worked together on it. And then when I went to the tree and I worked with this priest, he gave me holy water to bring to the tree. And then when I went there, and this photographer friend, she took a photo, and then she took photos, and I sent it to the tailor, and she was so appreciative. I was like, look, this is where I wore the outfit. And so it was a photo of, offering the holy water to this eldest tree on the island. And I hadn't looked at it like that, but that's how they guide. And just as you said too, is just trusting in the way our heart and our soul and our expression is trying to guide, that there's a whole language that's happening from that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So what is before we I know we have to go soon, but we could go on for
Yes, I know. When
I
when
feel
I'm
like
with you, it goes so fast.
it's already been an hour.
Entered into the stream.
I know. Of course there's going to be two more interviews with Liv, so that's exciting. But I'll
Yeah.
ask one more question and then I'll do something fun but what is the one thing that Contemple wants us to remember that we keep forgetting?
That's funny. They said, I just asked them, I said, what do you want? They said, see yourself as a child and see what happens.
Yes, thank you, Contemple.
And there is this ceremony that it was almost like a ritual or ceremony prescription recently that I find myself thinking about. It's been coming back to me, but they were asking people in this particular ritual or ceremony to do, they were calling it kind of like make believe. You can be anything. I feel like it's touching on what you were excuse me, what you were saying, David. It was permission to, it's kind of like where people get so excited around Halloween and playing dress up. You get to be anything. You get to be anything. Anyone can be a mermaid. You can be you can be a superhero. There's so many things you can be. What do you want to be? But then I found myself musing on that recently. Okay, that's true. And then what happens when you actually enter into that space ceremonially with the other world, with offerings, and there's whole other kind of energetic shifts. You're in a different realm in a sense. Then what happens? What happens? I don't have the answer to the question. I've just been musing on it. I was like, huh. It's kind of like that. Yeah, please.
I want to go back to what the answer you just got. See yourself as a child and see what happens. You want
Mm.
to know? I've thought about this as well. I think about a lot of things because I'm very idle. So I one of the things that people lose is the sense of wonder. When we were children, we understood the magic. We understood magic. Everything was possible within our realm. Then we went into teenage years and we were conditioned out of the magic that is naturally available to us because, you got to prepare to go to the world of work and become a productive member of society. And so people are conditioned out of the magic. So you lose that sense of wonder. You don't want to see the mist of Avalon anymore. You want to, like, go to work and go drinking with the boys and doing all of that stuff. And I think going back to the childlike wonder connects you with directly with that element of magic that you had, where
Mm,
you believed if you tried hard enough, you could fly.
Hmm.
You believed that if you wished for something hard enough, it would become that thing. Manifestation is never a problem for a child. Okay. So, whether you believe in magic or whether you believe in any of this stuff or not, when a child wants a fire engine for Christmas and you get the directive as the parent and you buy him the fire engine, that in and of itself is a manifestation.
yeah.
So, what is the difference between you and the parent and the universal
Yeah.
Mm,
configuration? The universal configuration sees the child in the adult me. When I say I want a red fire, maybe I shouldn't wish for that.
I
Let
know
me be a
you
little
might
bit
get
more
it.
specific. Right? Right? The universe, and it sees the child inside of you. Oh, this is what you want for Christmas? Here it is.
Yeah.
And people don't see the
yeah,
correlation between the two because they have abandoned the fact that they have a mother and father that is actually looking at them from above,
that's
or
deep.
a mother and father integration that is looking at them from above, who just wants to give them what they want for Christmas.
That's deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I
Yeah.
tell you, I'm idle. I think a lot about these things a lot.
While you're just saying, I feel like I feel like the sun just came out or something. The spiritual energy feels so bright. Yeah, it's beautiful, and I feel that too. And when I was sensing into that energy too of imagining a child, also, well, it does feel free. It feels free. A young child, and you're just expressing, and you're not, yeah, thinking about at a particular age, probably around 3 or 4, especially a particular child age that um, where their energy is still intact. Yeah, then there's that freedom and expansion and play, and yeah, absolutely.
I just want to make a. I just want to make one more comment for the spiritual people who are out there who are super serious with themselves. We're very serious about what we're doing. We are. We're very serious, and this spiritual work is a very serious thing. That childlike wonder will do
Mm,
wonders for your spiritual
Mhm.
practice.
yeah,
Yeah. I think
yeah,
that's why the contemplate always have, when I was in the ceremony, they would always have us make something. They always want us to
right,
create something out of clay. And
yeah,
you have a blob of clay and you're like, well, let's see what happens,
yeah.
right? Add whatever you want, feathers, crystals, dirt, whatever. I mean, you you and you bring it back. Like you actually bring back that child in
Oh, that's so
people.
nice.
I've witnessed it and
Oh,
yeah.
Now I'm jealous I didn't get to play with stuff.
well, come on, let's.
I know. That's your assignment, David.
How
Get some
about
clay. Get
how
some
about
clay.
in our next what do we call that? What are we calling this? What are we doing?
Unscripted?
In our
Unscripted?
next unscripted, we can also play,
Yeah,
with the other world in these kinds of ways.
Yes,
I love it. Let's do
agreed.
it.
That's a good
Okay,
idea.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
be a
let
child. I'm gonna be a child right now, and I'm going to see what happens, Liv, okay?
and it could be also that whoever is joining us in the outer community that is connecting with us, then they could play dress up if they want and let themselves become what they're really, really just feeling called to become.
Are we coming dressed? The next interview, we are. We are coming dressed up.
We are.
I feel it. I'm feeling
Guess what?
it.
I
Don't you
keep
feel it?
I do, and I keep
Oh,
it in my drawer all the time.
we're
Liv.
doing it, aren't we? What do you
Yeah.
have?
I have something in my it's
Are
Kentucky
we
one.
doing dress up, right?
I do. David
Let's
laughs at me. David laughs at me.
Can you
Yes.
tell us? Are you gonna tell us?
Oh my God.
Okay,
Oh,
Kentucky.
the boa.
Okay.
That's so cute.
Oh, I get
Yeah. Well, let's all do dress up, and whoever's joining us, those of you that are listening to us, yeah, come, and then I guess what they can tell us in the chat or something, and it'll be so fascinating also to learn if there are whole waves of, oh, I don't know, what would they be, like mermen or something? A whole lot of mermen showing up. I'm not sure what did David say.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can see it now.
I can't wait to see David dress up.
What are you
No,
gonna dress
I have no
as?
problem dressing up.
Okay, good.
Ooh, this is gonna be fun.
All
Okay,
right,
Liv. So wait, one thing. Can I ask her a question? Do you
sure.
remember, David? I have this box of questions that I used to use on my Unscripted show
Uh
by
huh.
myself,
Uh huh.
and
Oh,
they're
so cute.
fun questions. So I'm gonna pick one for Liv, Kentucky, whoever wants to answer.
Adorable, so cute.
Okay. What is your favorite nickname for yourself?
I feel like I don't have a good answer.
Good.
I don't know if I have a nickname for myself.
Well, you can.
When I was a kid, when I was a child, my dad used to call me Giggles Galore because I would laugh all the time. I just kind of came in laughing a lot.
There it is. There's it. Giggles galore.
Yeah, we're signing Live In as Giggles Galore in the
Next
next
time.
time. We are signing Live In as Giggles Galore for sure. We are. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
what are you gonna be, David?
A what?
Who are you gonna be?
Oh, I'm split between so many things now. My brain is I'm coming with the dress up. Yeah.
I'm so excited to find out. Yeah, I know. I feel like you're gonna just bring it.
You're gonna bring a top hat.
I know where to get one.
Aha.
Ooh.
Well, everybody saw mine,
This
but I
is
might
so fun.
come up with something else.
This is so fun. And you know, one time when I knew Maladoma was gonna he was interviewed by a friend, and I asked my friend to ask Maladoma the something about the purpose of laughter or joy. No, it was laughter. The importance of laughter. And he was basically saying that you can tell the proximity of someone to the other world by how much they laugh. The
Yes.
proximity of them to the other world by how much they laugh.
In that case, Giggles Galore and Amy are very proximal to the other world because let me tell you, every day we laugh every day, and it actually look, Amy and I are huge irritant to certain people because we laugh at everything.
We do.
Oh, it's
We,
so
we laugh at everything because everything at the end is funny, especially when people are being super serious. This is super serious spiritual work. We must concentrate and
right.
and use all our energy. And I'm like, that's funny.
It is. I know Amy and I were both, I think we might get into snorting too. We laugh snort.
It's true. We might snort. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure,
sorry.
Liv.
Oh, I've loved it so much. I'm so excited for the next already.
I know. And so
It's
everybody
been
can reach Liv at earthsamulet.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you guys didn't get that, because we know that somebody's gonna ask us, gee, where do I get in touch with Liv? You can contact Amy and myself at info@universalcitizentv.com and Amy at universalcitizentv.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And we're looking forward to those that are joining us next time in their
next time, bring it.
Dress up regalia, whatever that is. We don't know. I don't know why I keep getting mermen.
Merman. And can I tell David a fun fact that he might not know about you?
Please.
That Liv was a DJ.
Was a DJ.
David, Liv was a
Were you a
DJ.
DJ? I totally felt that about you, David. Do you listen to house music?
Okay, I do. Yeah. I do listen to house music. That's number one. I
Yeah.
do. And we're actually having a dance party on Monday. Where I am, we're having a cacao ceremony
Fun.
and a dance party after. So I was actually rehashing the skill set. We're going to have a light show with lasers that come all the way down to the ground.
Oh,
Right, so
that's
everybody's going to be bathed in light at that event. So I am looking forward to that event with all my
awesome.
heart because it's been a while since,
Yeah.
get these people who come into the cacao ceremony. Nothing opens your heart like movement.
Yeah, exactly. Cacao plus movement, dance. I felt that with you. I was like, I wonder if he listens to house music.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And
that may not be a spiritual thing to do, but I absolutely do.
it is spiritual. Dance is spiritual. We did Liv. We need to get our plane tickets to Canada.
Oh, is that where you live, David?
You should be at that. You should be at that cacao event.
I know.
I know. I was feeling that too. I was like, Amy, are we going? Let's go.
I know. We
What are
will.
waiting for? I know. I can see it. You just said it, and I felt it. The mom and dad in the sky. The mom and dad in the sky just said,
Send me the plane tickets. Yeah, we're gonna make these people meet at some point.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Okay, well, I'm so looking forward to the next. You two are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And
so much.
once again, for those of you who are watching the show, we want to remind you to keep it unscripted.
Oh, I got too into the keep it unscripted, everybody.
Keep it unscripted. Unscripted is the
Bye.
best way. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, this is David Hart, just letting you guys know that we've completed 2 online stores for your convenience and for your budget. The first is our software store, which is at shop.onexa.com. We've grouped all the AI tools that we've created, including a tool that will allow you to actually create employees for your business. The second is the shop.arsessentia.org store, where you can buy merchandise as well as self-improvement courses for yourself. These courses are internationally accredited by world bodies such as the Yoga Alliance, the International Association of Counselors and Therapists, and so on. Yeah, guys, so just check out our store and let us know what you think. And remember, if there's anything that you don't see in the store, we can absolutely custom build these tools for you. So if your business has a specific absolute requirement, we can build stuff for you from scratch. Okay? Check out our store, guys, and let us know what you think. Take care.